Like it's like God Only Knows, Stairway to Heaven, and fuck all with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just between those two. But
Here,
it's so good. It has different sections. I'm like, so does every other song in existence. It's like it's
uh,
not that special. Yeah. Hey all. Welcome to what episode is this? Four, five.
doesn't matter. Just say.
Doesn't matter.
Welcome to episode whatever um, of Off Timin, spinoff of Good Timing Beach Boys podcast. We are covering Led Zeppelin today, one of my personal favorite bands. Um, and I think this one is might be the hardest for most people to rank because I feel like similarly to Pink Floyd, but I'd honestly say more so. I don't think they have a single bad album, especially since like they had full control over their musical input, especially compared to a lot of their predecessors and like contemporaries at the time. And that's kind of the big thing with Zeppelin is that they were one of the first artists who did have that complete control from the get-go. They started off as the Yardbirds, if you know that band. It's kind of like Joy Division becomes New Order, except like a couple of years prior, where like the Yardbirds was just like kind of this blues cover band. They had a couple of originals. They did Train Kept the Rolling. That was like their big one. Um, and then through their cycling lineup of guitarists, they eventually landed Jimmy Page, who started off as a bass player, and then Jeff Beck left the band. There's a little crossover. And then once Jimmy Page joined the band, he kind of created a force. And then a couple of the members left that band. I think Keith Relf, their lead singer, their bassist, and it was pretty much just Chris Dreja and Jimmy Page. So they recruited two guys, John Bonham and Robert Plant. And then the Chris Dreja left, so then they got John Paul Jones, and then from there it's just Zeppelin. Uh,
Until Bonzo died, pretty much.
yeah, and then they were Zeppelin. They were giants. The biggest band of their era is like not even close. They were
Mhm.
one of the first groups to sell out stadiums. They kind of set the stage for that. Their manager Peter Green or no, not Peter Grant, incredible manager. Like honestly, like the gold standard for what like a music manager should be. Because rather than kind of making it about like his success, he purely made it about the band's success, and he like literally like fought people so that they could have what they want. So they were just sublime. They were the gold standard of like a rock group. Did some fucked up shit, but when it comes to the music, it comes to they're the gold standard.
Yeah,
And
we're only talking about music tonight. We're not talking about.
we're only talking about music tonight. Personally, with me, I grew up with them quite a bit, but I only really listened to them through radio. But luckily, the radio station I listened to, 99.1 PLR, Connecticut's number one rock station, Chaz and AJ in the morning, and the guy who did the thing at night. I listened to them on the way to school when I was with my mom in the car, and they actually played a lot of like deep cuts of Zeppelin because they were massive Zeppelin fans. So I got to listen to that. They had a whole thing called Stairway to Seven, where they would play like a couple of Zeppelin songs at like 650, and they were always like deep cuts. I remember hearing Trampled Underfoot on the radio, because which is pretty crazy, I think, because I mean like that's pretty deep cut compared to like Dazed and Confused and like Stairway and anything off Zeppelin 4. And then I got into the Beatles and shit. But even then, I would still listen to Zeppelin in the morning with my mom uh, every day till like sixth grade. Then down the line in high school, I picked up guitar, and you either pick Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix, and I ended up picking Hendrix. But then I picked Jimmy Page like right after, and I learned all the riffs and completely fell into their catalog and loved it. I have some very big personal favorites from this band. One of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. I made the list, by the way. Took a while, but I made the list. And I'm sure I'll mention that song when we get to it, but they have a big place in my heart. They were like one of my original, like, founding fathers, I guess, of rock music for me.
Yeah, so in terms of my background with the band, going into this ranking, I'd consider myself more of a casual Zeppelin fan. I knew most of their popular songs just from hearing them on the radio, and also just growing up listening to Led Zeppelin 4 a lot. I remember I had that one on CD, so I would listen to that album quite a bit. But like Riley said, hearing them on the radio a lot. There was also a Stairway to Seven program here. I think it actually still exists where they would play Zeppelin songs, so I remember hearing that sometimes as well. I would also say that I did know quite a few of their deep cuts going into this, but for the most part, I hadn't really ever taken a deep dive into their albums. That said, though, I'm glad that I did now because doing this ranking, I found a lot of material that I really liked, as well as some songs that I was familiar with, but that I didn't really fully appreciate until re-listening to them. So Yeah, like Riley said, just a fantastic band. I love Robert Plant's vocals, definitely one of the best rock singers of all time. Jimmy Page's guitar. And really, I feel like each member of this band is essential to their sound. I can definitely see why the band disbanded after John Bonham passed away. So yeah, I feel like after doing this deep dive, I definitely have a greater appreciation for them now than I did going in. So I'm looking forward to discussing their albums with you guys.
So for me, I never really listened to Zeppelin. They had been on my list for a while. I did not really grow up listening to classic rock like you guys. I grew up listening to an adult contemporary station that played 80s to today. So I grew up with like Right Here Waiting and Everything I Do It For You. That was my childhood. But they had been on my list for a while, and I kind of had a bit of a admittedly a preconceived notion that okay, they're like the blues band that kind of ripped off a lot of blues artists, kept getting sued, whatever. So I listened to this, and I walked away really loving a lot of material. There was a lot more diversity in the catalog than I had expected. I kind of was like, I don't know, and not that I don't appreciate blues because, Layla is one of my all-time favorite albums. I love that record. But I came out of this like, oh my God, there's a lot of diversity here. There's some cool stuff. They got some funky songs. They got some synthy songs. They got some psychedelic songs. They got some art rocky songs. As you mentioned, Robert Plant is an amazing vocalist. Jimmy Page is an amazing guitarist. John Bonham is an amazing drummer. John Paul Jones, amazing bassist, doing some cool stuff on Mellotron and Dulcimer and all that. So it's just all this like, all this stuff that's going into the material. I love that they're like touching on mythology in some songs. I love that you have some songs, they got some reggae in there. I mean, just like so much cool material. And I'm really glad I finally took the opportunity to listen to all this stuff. And I just wanted to mention one thing. This is one of those, if you ever need proof that critics are full of shit sometimes, go read some old Rolling Stone reviews of Led Zeppelin. They're god fucking awful. In fact, actually, if you've ever seen the movie Almost Famous, the band in that movie is based off of Led Zeppelin. And Cameron Crowe was the only person on Rolling Stone staff that Zeppelin would let them interview because he was the only one that actually appreciated them. Fun fact. So, and if you guys have not seen Almost Famous and all of our reviews, check it out. It's an amazing movie from Cameron Crowe.
Yeah. I don't know. Once I learned how to play Communication Breakdown's guitar solo, I knew I was actually pretty good at guitar.
All right, so do we want to get into our album ranking now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Before we do, are we ranking Coda?
Yes.
All right, then Coda's last. And it's not to say that there's like no good songs on it. It's just literally like I can't even think of another like album to compare it to because they literally just slapped everything else they had left in the tank, and
I
even
have
some outtakes.
I have a good example. So Prince, when he was leaving Warner Brothers, was throwing together a bunch of stuff that he had thrown in the vault. Didn't really care about the quality. Kind of just threw it together because he wanted to get out of the contract. So I guess we could kind of see this as an example.
It's
They were
you know
trying
what? It's their LA album.
that too. It's not really like it's like they were trying to get out of a contract, but I know like Bonham had
Yeah.
died. So like let's just throw what we have together. That
Yeah,
kind of
so
Prince in the '90s.
their drummer died. Zeppelin made the choice to like split up and not get back together and not continue, as ironically a bunch of bands did at the time, especially the Who. I think it's really crazy that both those drummers died the same year, Keith Moon and John Bonham, for the same reason. But unlike the Who, they just called it quits and they just released Coda as a collection of songs. They have their like punk inspired song Ozone Baby, which I quite enjoy. And We're Gonna Groove is also enjoyable, but there's not much else I really return to on here. There's the expanded edition that has Hey Hey What Can I Do as a single, which was a single release in 73, but I wouldn't count that. But I don't know, it's just like compared to the things that were like actually like artistic statements, last is Coda.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you, Riley. That's my number 9 as well. Coda, like you said, kind of disassembled outtakes from over the years. The band had to provide one more album under like their, what their contract was. So this was what they put out. There's some nice little songs on here, but nothing really essential. I did like the track Poor Tom. I thought that was kind of a cool little acoustic song. Has kind of like that haunting sound to it, which I really like. But besides that, not too much here did anything for me. I know there's a couple of blues covers with We're Gonna Groove. My dad said that I was talking to my dad about this album, and he said that he really liked the song Darlene. I think it's okay, catchy, but not necessarily essential by any means. Same thing with Ozone Baby. Riley, I actually thought the most punk sounding song here was Wearing and Tearing. That to me just sounds like the band just trying to like do punk, like pretty much like the bands
Yeah.
around the
late
Um,
70s and they wanted to do it. They
Right.
wanted to like,
And I think it's interesting, but it honestly doesn't do too much for me. I kind of feel like they're a little bit out of their element on that, but I definitely do respect them kind of trying something different there. But yeah, overall though, not really many songs here stood out to me, and I don't really see myself revisiting much of this material. So definitely, it's an outtakes album, and it definitely sounds like an outtakes album. So
So number 9 for me is Led Zeppelin 4. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely Coda. Definitely
out of
Coda.
your fucking mind.
No, of course. No. It's definitely Coda. Yeah, it definitely is an outtakes album. It's definitely like let's see what we have in the can. Let's just throw something out. A couple of interesting tracks on there. I know you mentioned Poor Tom. I like that one too, but
yeah.
as a whole, it's just kind of there. Again, not awful by any stretch of the means, not something that like I'm putting on and I'm like, oh, I turn this off, it's so terrible, but it just feels kind of there. It doesn't feel like something like a physical graffiti or like a Led Zeppelin 4 where like I'm really being taken on this great artistic journey as you mentioned, Riley.
Yeah, I'd like to say I think I have a pretty diverse list compared to most people because I mean, just how I viewed the band.
Mhm.
But I don't think that this next choice is also going to shock anybody. I have Presence at number 8. And I feel like creatively they were just spent. Um, Not to say that there's anything bad. In fact, I like quite a few tracks from this one. Well, there's only like 8 songs, so like I guess not like too many. But Achilles' Last Stand though is arguably the best Zeppelin song. I would definitely put it up there. I know Jake probably doesn't like it because it goes on a little too long. But the layers of guitar are incredible, and I think Jimmy Page, this is like a really big Jimmy Page like guitar song.
Mhm.
For Your Life is a classic Zeppelin rocker. I enjoy that one. Also, Nobody's Fault But Mine. That's a banger. And T for One's also pretty good, but the rest is just sounds creatively spent. I mean, Robert Plant recorded this album in a wheelchair because he got into a pretty bad accident.
Hmm.
Um, like singing like in the wheelchair and shit. But they're touring the US extensively. This is like their Beatles for sale. So
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
but it's solid. Like like Matt said, like I wouldn't like shut this off. I don't think there's anything bad on here. I appreciate them being a bit more creative with their layering and stuff, especially after the last couple of albums that they did. But just in terms of songwriting, just spent.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Riley, because my number 8 is also Presence. For this one, yeah, pretty much everything that you said. The songwriting just doesn't feel like it's there for me on this one, especially compared to like the albums that preceded it. Like you said, from what I read, it sounds like it was a rough period for the band with Robert Plant getting in a car accident. And I kind of agree with what you said. I feel like the band just sounds like they're kind of creatively spent here. The material just doesn't jump out at me in the way that most of their previous stuff does. That said, I will say I know you kind of joked that I wouldn't like this song, but to me, Achilles' Last Stand is actually the highlight of the album for me. Yes, it is long. I agree, and for that reason, I probably won't like revisit it too often. But that said, it is a really great rocker. Love the intensity of it. Jimmy Page's guitar solos are just ripping on this. So yeah, I do enjoy the song mostly for Jimmy's guitar work. So like that one a lot. Unfortunately, most of the rest of the material didn't really click with me. For Your Life didn't do too much for me. I know you said you liked that one, Riley. Didn't do a whole lot for
It's
me.
a grower.
Yeah. Candy Store Rock, catchy little song, but it does feel a little bit fillery. Same thing with Hot Son for Nowhere. T for One is kind of a cool little bluesy song, but to me it just sounds like an inferior Since I've Been Loving You. So I'm not the biggest fan of that one for that reason either. So yeah, overall not a bad album, but definitely kind of pales in comparison to the albums that preceded it. So this was definitely an easy placement on my ranking. So number 8, Presence.
I swear I'm not just trying to copy you guys. I agree. Kind of actually you hit the nail on the head for me because it came after Physical Graffiti, which I thought was incredible. And then you have this, and it's fine, but it definitely feels like you could tell it was rushed. You can tell they were exhausted. You can tell that it's a little bit spent. But I do think Achilles' Last Stand is incredible. And then Nobody's Fault But Mine and For Your Life are nice little tracks too. But as a whole, it didn't really do much for me. It just kind of felt like a bit of a letdown after Physical Graffiti, which I really thought was.
All right. This I think this is where my list diverges with like every other diehard Zeppelin fan. I don't think it's like anything crazy. It's just I have Led Zeppelin 3 next.
Hmm.
Um, and like that one, I feel like it always is kind of like their like dark horse one. So all like the diehard fans are like, "Yo, it's the best thing that ever came out." It's just like nobody else likes it, so like I'm special. Um, and I think it's pretty damn good. I especially think that it's a big divergence from their previous one. But especially you have Immigrant Song to start off, but the rest of the album is pretty like acoustic and tame. It almost sounds like they like this is like their like rubber soul kind of moment. Like this is like their acoustic like switch up. And I am a fan of like the songs I like on here. I'm a huge fan of, but the ones I don't really like, I just don't really care for. Um, like I said, Immigrant Song, banger. Like that's just like objectively awesome. I don't really care for Friends. I This version of Celebration Day sounds way better on the Song Remains the Same live album compared to like the actual studio version. Since I'm in Loving You though, top tier. That's like one of their best songs. But Out on the Tiles, Gallows Pole, don't care for. Tangerine though, another one of their best songs. So like this album is like I don't want to say it's fifth. That's the way too. Awesome. But the rest of it I just don't really care for. I don't again, not bad. I wouldn't turn it off. I'm glad they went in this direction because then the next two albums, which are some of my favorites, wouldn't have had that kind of like influence. But Zeppelin 3, a little overrated for me compared to like most diehard fans, but still good.
All right. So number 7 for me is In Through the Outdoor. So I know from what I've read, this seems like it's kind of a divisive album among fans because I know the band was kind of getting away from their kind of traditional sound, getting away from like the really hard rocking sound and leaning more into like synthesizers. Um, Personally, this album for me, I don't really have a problem with the synthesizers. Honestly, I think they add a lot to quite a few of the songs. I like their use here from John Paul Jones, but overall, the songwriting here does feel like it's lacking a little bit in places. There's definitely some songs in here that feel a bit fillery to me, but there are still some really strong highlights. The opener in the evening, really like that song a lot. I like the blend of Jimmy's guitar and John Paul Jones keyboard playing. I also really love that like slow middle section that's very haunting sounding, so really dig that. The song All My Love is my favorite song on the album. Really heartfelt song from Robert Plant that was dedicated to his son who passed away. I think it has a very pretty melody, and I really like the way that the synthesizer is used on this one. I know there's that cool little synthesizer solo in the middle that kind of sounds almost like classical. I really like that too. So, pretty cool song. Um, Riley, how do you pronounce it? Southbound Soiree? Is that what
Southbound
it's named?
Suarez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Suarez. I like that one quite a bit too. I like the honky tonk piano on it from John Paul Jones. It's kind of what makes the song for me. But I think that's kind of an interesting song in that it sounds quite a bit different from a lot of their other material. In terms of the other material on here, though, not really a big fan of the rest of the tracks. My hot take, Fool in the Rain has never done much for me. It's grown on me a bit, like a little bit, but it's never really clicked. And it does feel a bit long for my liking. Hot Dog feels like filler. Has piano, but definitely filler.
Very terrible lyric on that song too, like the worst lyric in their entire catalog.
I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to
Yeah,
your.
you'll know exactly which one it is.
Okay. How do you say this one? Carousel
Chris Lambra.
Carousel. I like the synthesizer on that one, but the song itself way too long for me. Didn't really click. And then I'm gonna crawl. Cool synthesizer, and I dig like kind of the soulful vibe of the song, but still not really a highlight for me. So, this album, I think it's definitely like a step above Presence for me. And I think that it has some nice moments, but overall, not one that I see myself re-listening to as a whole. I think it's just a little bit patchy compared to their earlier albums.
I'm gonna echo a lot of what Jake says. That's my number 7 in Through the Outdoor. I do like the synths. I like that they're going in a different direction, which is why I rank it higher than Presence. But yeah, as a whole, patchy. The irony is, those two songs you didn't like, "Fool in the Rain" and "Carousel Ramba," are my favorites. Those are the ones I really connected with the most. I love the samba vibes of "Fool in the Rain," and then I love "Carousel Ramba," which is like, it's very like, it almost feels like, you're like at a carnival and a carousel. And I like that it's kind of long and has some stuff going on. But yeah, I kind of agree with you where it's like, I like that they're taking it in a different direction, but they didn't quite stick the landing for me.
All right. This so like after Presence, this is like these are all I think perfect albums for me. Um, so with that being said, I have Led Zeppelin 2 up next. This is like kind of their, I would say next to 4, definitely has the most hits on there. You have a Whole Lot of Love, um, Heartbreaker and Living Loving Maid were both radio staples. Ramble On, and I think every song on here is fantastic. It's just like maybe it's because I heard them on the radio like every day as a kid, where it kind of lowers that for me. Whole Lot of Love though, incredible. What is and what should never be. I think that's also a radio staple. Incredible. I don't care for the Lemon song. Lyrics definitely. Thank You is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. Period. Though I love that one. Um, Heartbreaker, incredible solo, although I think it's like where Page's like sloppiness. Keep in mind, this guy was like one of the best studio guitarists in London in the 60s, so do with that what you will. I think it definitely adds to the solo, and the live version on the expanded song remains the same, peak. And I love the way it transitions into Living Loving Maid. I think these are all like hard rockers and bangers. I just wish there's a little bit more balance, which is what I love about some of the other stuff past this one, where they learned to kind of balance the slower stuff with like the high tempo rockers. Because Thank You, I think, is my favorite song on the album, uh, next to Whole Lot of Love. But it's definitely incredible, and I think it definitely in some ways expands on the first, but I also feel like it doesn't hit the same like creative strides that the first did, and everything else after this on my list did.
All right, so coming in at number 6 for me is Houses of the Holy. Um, Um, this album, I like it quite a bit. For me, it doesn't rank up there with like my very favorite Zeppelin albums, but I do think it's a pretty consistent album as a whole. This one's kind of interesting in that it doesn't really sound quite as like bluesy as the earlier albums. It's a little bit more of a straightforward rock sound on this one, although there's still some bluesy tracks for sure. But yeah, I like quite a few of the songs on here. Some of the highlights for me, the Rain song, really pretty ballad. Love Jimmy's guitar playing on that one, and also the use of Mellotron. Yeah, a little bit long for my liking, but still highlighted the album for me. Dancing Days, my favorite song on the album. Really catchy melody, and I love the riffs from Jimmy. And that's a song that I've known for a long time, and I've always really liked. So definitely a highlight there. No Quarter, another huge highlight of the album for me and the band's entire catalog. Really love the haunting atmosphere of this song. I remember the first time I heard this one, I was driving in the car late at night, and it just really hit. I love the way that the synth and the electric piano is used on this one from John Paul Jones. It's just a really cool arrangement. And then Jimmy's guitar tone is like so heavy on this. It's just such a cool track. Kind of mesmerizing is how I would describe it. And the interesting thing is, like, a lot of these longer songs I kind of struggle with sometimes, but this one I love every minute of it. This is one I could listen to on repeat. So really like No Quarter a lot. And then the album closer, The Ocean, I think is a really great rocker. Another really catchy riff from Jimmy Page. And I really like that little outro section on this one. It sounds a little bit doo-woppy, kind of like some of the girl groups from the 50s and 60s. So I really like that as well. So yeah, pretty strong album. There are a few songs in here that don't do too much for me. I know The Crunge is kind of like a funkier sounding song, but didn't really do a whole lot for me. Dire Maker or
The
Jamaica,
Maker.
whatever the hell you're supposed to say it, has never done much for me. I'm not a big reggae guy in general, so
I'm
like,
not surprised.
so yeah, this one actually gets on my nerves a little bit. Robert Plant's vocals kind of irritate me on this one, but yeah, overall though, pretty solid album, and with some really great highlights, but not quite as consistent as the albums that I'm going to mention that are a bit higher up on my ranking. So number 6 for me, Houses of the Holy.
So number 6 for me, I'm gonna go with Led Zeppelin 3. I kind of agree with what you say, Riley. It's a little hit or miss, but when it hits, it really hits. Immigrant Song, amazing opener, like the just gets so hyped.
That's their cold open.
Have you guys? I don't know when's the last time you saw Shrek the Third, but it was in there. I remember
Yeah.
that.
I know it was in that Thor movie too.
Yeah. I kind of liked Friends. I know you said it didn't do much for you, but I kind of liked it, like a nice psychedelic vibe. Celebration Day is a great energetic rocker. Since I've Been Loving You, incredible song. Yeah. Out in the Tiles, Gallows Pole didn't do as much for me. Tangerine, beautiful fucking song. Such a moving ballad. I quite like That's the Way too. It was kind of like a cool, like acousticy song. It kind of has like that folksy vibe. And then I kind of liked I don't know, what's it, Bronny Yar Stomp?
Yeah.
Dude, even I don't know.
I don't know, but it kind of reminds me. It kind of I like has like the foot stamping, hand clap. It's kind of like a better version of that song by the Lumineers, Hey Ho. It's like
No,
if that
don't even.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
that's like
can't
if
believe you
it's like
mentioned
it
that.
has that vibe, but if that
I
song
can't believe you mentioned that in
good,
this. I can't believe you mentioned that.
yeah, I know it's crap. But anyway, yeah, I kind of agree with you though. When it's good, it's really good, and I kind of like that they're heading more in the folksy kind of like country bluegrassy kind of thingy. But as a whole, it's not quite as strong as some of the other ones. So Led Zeppelin 3, number
Yeah.
7.
All right. Hold on, I'm gonna look at my list. Oh, damn. Even I'm shocked by this. I have Physical Graffiti. Yeah, Matt, you had my moment. And like I said, I think everything from the last one onwards is pretty much a perfect release. like top tier stuff you could get in just any genre of music. But when it comes to Physical Graffiti, I feel like it's kind of like a White Album thing where like as a whole it totally fits together, but there are moments where there are definitely like slows the pace a little bit in terms of like my excitement with the songs. And like if you cut some of those songs out and just made a single album release, that would be like the greatest album ever released. So that's kind of my mindset, especially when I'm comparing it to the other ones I like, where it's just no miss. And not that there's like a miss on this one, it's just like the stuff on it's not as like compacted. Um, and I can kind of get a little tired listening because it's an hour and 22 minutes, and that's like almost as long as you can get with a double album. But like that being said, the Rover is an incredible rocker. I kind of wish that was the opener. House is the Holy, also a pretty good rocker that I think it was a good choice to leave it off the album it came from. But I'm kind of shocked they put it on the next one. Trampled Underfoot is like a funky banger. Like that one, like the guitar playing from Jimmy Page actually shocks me. I don't even know how he got that rhythm with it, but that's impressive. Um, Kashmir is Kashmir, and that's like one of their most well-known songs, but it's not even close to my favorite because I think I actually like side two a little bit or disc two a little bit better. Down by the Seaside and 10 Years Gone, I think is a hell of a back-to-back. Those two I just absolutely adore. The first time listening to those was absolutely special for me. The Wantong song and Night Flight are also two pretty faster paced bangers. But the ones I didn't mention, I know In My Time of Dying and The Inner Light have their massive fans, but they don't really do much for me. So a little overbloated, still great though, and definitely like maybe the best release of 1975.
So, Matt, I'm going to shock you too because I'm on the same page as Riley with this one. Number five, Physical Graffiti. So yeah, pretty much what Riley said. I feel like this album, like for me, like so the highlights on here are some of the best songs in the entire catalog. But I do agree that this album could have been tightened up a bit. I do think that if you could condense this down into a single album, you could make it even stronger than it is. Like Riley said, I don't really think there's a bad song on this album, but I do think that there's some songs that don't really do a whole lot for me, particularly in the second half of this album. The first half is just full of bangers for me. Opens up with Custard Pie, which I think is a really strong rocker. Love Jimmy's really raw guitar tone on that one. The Rover, like Riley mentioned, absolute banger of a song. Kind of a deeper cut that I already knew before preparing for this episode, but I've always loved it. Awesome riff, great drumming, great vocals from Robert Plant, and definitely a highlight of the band's catalog for me. Houses of the Holy. This one kind of reminds me a little bit of Dancing Days because it has like that really catchy riff, another strong melody, and great vocals from Robert Plant. He really sings the hell out of this one. So love Houses of the Holy. Trampled Underfoot is probably a top five song in the entire catalog for me. Just absolutely love this song. Like Riley said, it's like a funky banger. Got that really funky riff, like with the clavinet. Just awesome guitar on this. Just an awesome song. Kashmir, like Riley said, one of the band's most well-known and acclaimed songs. Kind of with you on this one, Riley. This is one I like, but like I don't come back to it a whole lot personally. But I totally get why people love this one. The string arrangement is really cool, kind of like Middle Eastern sounding, and I do think it's one of the group's best songs. Down by the Seaside, I love this song a lot. This is one that I did not know going into this, but I'm really glad that I discovered it now because I really enjoy it a lot. I really like how it's kind of split into sections. You have like that folkier, slow section that opens it, kind of Neil Young influenced. I really like that. And then that really intense middle section. And I love that tremolo effect that Jimmy has on his guitar during the slower section. I think, is that what that is, Riley? It's like kind of a tremolo.
Yeah, it's tremolo. It's not like this tremolo.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like an actual like effect pedal.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I really love that effect. Like that almost like makes the song for me. I think that sounds so cool. So this song really shows the band's versatility. But beyond the songs that I mentioned, though, the rest of the songs on here kind of range from like solid for me to kind of like inessential. Like Boogie with Stu. It's a fun little song, but it does feel a little bit fillery. Black Country Woman, it's fine, but I wouldn't consider it essential. Sick Again kind of feels like The Rover Part 2. So yeah, overall though, I think that this is a pretty strong album with some really great highlights. But as a whole though, it's not their most consistent for me. So I know that a lot of fans, probably will like be shocked by us ranking this low. But for me, it's just a consistency thing. I just think the first half is quite a bit stronger than the second. So number five for me, Physical Graffiti.
I'm shocked that you both ranked it so low, but oh well. Number five for me, Houses of the Holy. I think that this is a solid record. It's a very good record. I just like the other ones better that are over it. But yeah, some really good songs. A Song Remain Insane is a great energetic opener. You got some really nice guitar work. I like the tempo changes too from like when the vocals come in. The Rain song I thought was a really cool proggy ballad. I love the mellotron on the track. It's very ethereal sounding. Over the Hills and Far Away, I kind of like how it starts as like an acoustic song, then it builds in something a bit more energetic. I like the crunge. I like the funky stuff. Dancing Days, I liked it too. I kind of said it had like a boogie feel. It almost sounds like I mentioned Jake. It almost sounds a bit like a live tune because of like the effect they put on Plant's vocal. It almost sounds like something that you would hear live.
Yeah.
Dear, I like it, but I also kind of like reggae and ska, so I think it's just different taste on that one. No Quarter, incredible song. Very, I said it was like very like almost spacey, kind of like
Yeah.
almost something you'd hear like in like the middle of space. And
Yeah.
the Ocean, I think it's a great hard rocker, and I love that doo-wop breakdown. So, yep, House of the Holy for me. Number five, more just because I like everything else better, but not because like it's bad.
Yeah, I don't know. You're giving you guys a sense of where I placed anything. I think that would kind of ruin my list. Number four, Led Zeppelin one. I think when you look at like the band's history, especially with the Yardbirds, like like the live shows they were doing in like 68, 67, and then that album Little Games that came out in 67. This album makes a lot more sense, especially as like just like the way it sounds. It's kind of got this like, for lack of a better term, aura to it. It's just like so dark and brooding on every song, but also like even the energetic stuff, it just sounds like mystical and like I can kind of see where they got their image from. And like again, I know I listed at four, but this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Just the guitar work is absolutely incredible. Even on the Black Mountain side, I'm sure that Jake and definitely probably doesn't care for that one at all. I think it's like really incredible, like the guitar work from Jimmy Page. It kind of shows his versatility on guitar, which I feel like is what makes him better than like what people say. And I can get more into that later. But this just banger after banger, and it's just it has its own sound to it. Like Zeppelin 2 doesn't even sound like this. It's just good times, bad times, massive opener. I think maybe one of the best openers in like rock history for an album. Really sets the stage. Babe, I'm gonna leave you. Incredible vocals from Plant. I don't really care if you shook me. That's like the only one I don't really care for on this one. Still pretty good. Dazed and Confused though. Holy shit. I know this is a Jake Holmes song, but like Jake said earlier, like listen to the Jake Holmes version and tell me that one's better because I don't think you can. It's just the whole instrument, like the instrumental like sections of Zeppelin are just beautiful, and that shit's just awesome. Jimmy Page's guitar solo is incredible. I love his use of violin bow. That's the like little like sound effect you hear it on a bunch of Zeppelin songs. Your Time Is Gonna Come. That's the one I didn't care for like the longest time. Then it just finally clicked with me. That one's just awesome. Like I already mentioned, Black Mountain Side. Communication Breakdown, I think, is punk about like 10 years earlier. That shit's fucking sick. I love Communication Breakdown. That one's just kind of always labeled as like a rocker. Maybe it's because I learned how to play the guitar solo, and I'm like, oh, no, look at me. So I really have a connection to it. But that thing is sick, and I Can't Quit You, Babe. Awesome. But I think the actual best song on here is How Many More Times. That one's just I can't even describe it. Like the use of wah, Jimmy Page's guitar, the violin bow, everything that made Zeppelin Zeppelin, especially at this point, is in that song. And I think like everything that made Zeppelin Zeppelin is in this album. It's just I happen to like three more than this one. So.
Well, I'm on the same page as Riley again because number four for me is the debut, Led Zeppelin. So yeah, I think what Riley said, this is a really strong debut. The band really kind of introducing their sound right away, leaning really heavily into kind of like the blues rock sound. You have several blues rock covers on here as well. In terms of the highlights for me, the opener, Good Times, Bad Times, absolutely love this song. Super catchy melody, great guitar from Jimmy Page. Definitely a highlight of the catalog for me. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, another huge highlight of the catalog for me. Such a haunting song. Some of Robert Plant's best vocals on this one as well, especially during that chorus. I mean, he just sings the hell out of it. And yeah, just one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. Dazed and Confused, like Riley said, just like Jimmy Page on full display here. Really haunting riff to start the song. That middle section where he's playing the guitar with the bow is super cool as well. Such a cool sound. Really kind of shows the band how influential they were in that regard, kind of experimenting with different sounds. And again, a great vocal from Robert Plant and also great drumming from John Bonham on this one. So, really cool song. Your Time Is Gonna Come. Love the organ playing on this one from John Paul Jones. And the pedal steel guitar on this from Jimmy Page is really what makes it for me. Really cool ballad. So, dig that one quite a bit and could see myself coming back to it more. And then, like Riley mentioned, Communication Breakdown, just awesome, awesome rocker. Robert Plant singing the hell out of it. Jimmy Page's guitar playing is awesome as well. That chorus is just so powerful. And yeah, just another highlight of the album for me. So absolutely love that song. In terms of the other material on here, I didn't mention. I like some of it, but some of it also kind of outstays its welcome for me. Like You Shook Me, not too crazy about that one. I know it's a cover. A little bit long for my liking. Same thing. I know Riley, you said you liked "I Can't Quit You, Baby." For me, it's solid, but kind of similar to "You Shook Me." It didn't do a whole lot for me. How many more times? I think I'd like it more if it was a little bit shorter, but it does outstay its welcome a little bit for me. So, it is a good song though, for sure. I definitely agree that it's a good
Dude,
song.
that coda section's like, yeah, I am the moon. He's
Yeah.
just
But, oh, and
so cool. And
you,
that riff is so infectious.
the riff is my favorite part of the song for sure.
You should see the live version they did on TV where it's like 7 minutes, so I think it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Like their debut on like TV. It was
Hmm.
like a Danish TV program, or whatever. And they have a little Deuce Coupe moment where Robert plays like, "I'm gonna introduce you Led Zeppelin." It's like guitar Jimmy Page, and then Jimmy does like a coolest thing you could ever see was at Led Zeppelin. That thing gives me goosebumps every time I see it on Reels.
Yeah. But yeah, overall though, yeah, I really like the debut quite a bit. And there's some highlights on here that I think are some of the best songs in the catalog. So number four for me, and this is probably like the first album that like as a whole is I consider pretty damn consistent. Like Physical Graffiti, like I like quite a bit of it, but like the second half I do kind of struggle with. Where like this one, the majority of the album I do really enjoy. So
I'm not trying to copy you guys, but that's number four, Led Zeppelin 1. I think this is an amazing way to introduce yourself to the world. I think this does a great job of setting the stage for the sound you're going to get from the early Zeppelin records. It's just, I mean, good times, bad times. So much energy, such a great opener. Babe, I'm gonna leave you. I love the contrast between the more acoustic parts of the song and the more high energy parts of the song. I actually like You Shook Me. I guess I'm the only one that likes it. I think it's got a great groovy blues guitar on it. And I kind of love the part at the end where like Jimmy Page is playing the guitar and Robert Plant's like I really like that part. Like I thought that was really cool. Dazed and Confused is a classic. I mean, the guitar work from Jimmy Page is just out of this world. The whole atmosphere of the song is incredible. Your Time Is Gonna Come. I love that chorus. Your time is gonna come. Like that's just something that, like I could just put that on a loop. I like Black Mountainside. I think it's a nice segue. I like how it segues into Your Time Is Gonna Come. It's kind of like I kind of thought it was like almost like a little Middle Easterny thing going on. Very pleasant. Communication Breakdown is a great energy, great solo. I Can't Quit You, Babe, another great blues number. Lots of great guitar work. Robert Plant's doing a great job with the vocals. And How Many More Times? Pretty good song too. So, yep, Led Zeppelin 1 is number 4 for me, just because I like the other three better. But it's still a great way to, like I said, I think from here on out, every album is like I really, really like.
Yeah. All right. So with my top three, I think you're gonna see that I like Zeppelin when they're at their most experimental. And I
mhm.
know you're probably gonna like come at me and be like, "Yo, isn't Physical Graffiti super experimental?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's a little bit bloated, isn't it?" So my top three, and I thought I was alone in this thinking because it's probably like a very out there take, or like very like it's a hot take in the catalog. I've In Through the Outdoor. It's just I don't know. It's just so fucking cool. I love the effects. I love the synthesizers and the way they are incorporated with the guitar. I feel like that's a very hard thing to like mesh together without it sounding muddy. And I think they did an incredible job. In the Evening is like their last great like stadium rocker.
Mhm.
And I think that's a hell of a way to open up an album. And I love the little guitar things Jimmy Page is doing on here because I know for a fact he's like pressing down on like the tremolo bar and then like letting it go as soon as it like sprouts down and it creates like crazy effects, and he did incredible stuff with the guitar. Southbound Soiree, I'm kind of with you on that, Jake. I think it's Soiree. I love the use of piano on it, and I love that they're kind of like having a little bit of like a style change. I feel like it's a pretty cool direction to go in, and I love that they're like really experimented with this album and all that. Fool in the Rain is one of my top 10 favorite Zeppelin songs. I just I think that's like their best take at a pop song. I think it's absolutely like it's so catchy, and I love the guitar on it. Hot Dog minus that one horrendous lyric is like Led Zeppelin's Ding Dang. Um, and like you think I'm joking, but if you go to like the Reddit pages for Led Zeppelin, you'll see the guys in the comment going, "Dog." So yeah, it's their Ding Dang, and I absolutely enjoy it so much. And I think Jimmy Page shreds on guitar with it. Curse Alhambra has been called John Paul Jones's Stairway to Heaven, and I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think it's like as well written as Stairway, but I just loved like the soundscape of that song. So I know me and Matt are kind of on the same page with that. All My Love, Jake said earlier, gorgeous ballad to Robert Plant's son. It was one of their last like hits on the radio with Fool in the Rain. Adore that song. And last one, Jake, I know you don't really like it, but I'm Gonna Crawl, I think is my second favorite song on the album next to Fool in the Rain. I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the little like R&B influence on that. And when you look at what Robert Plant did after Zeppelin, like right away, actually with the Honey Drippers, he went to like that R&B kind of style. So and Through the Outdoor gets a lot of shit, gets a lot of flack, but I love that they're like changing direction, and you'll see that with my next two, or especially my number one. But gorgeous album. I don't think there's a single miss on it. I can listen to this thing beginning to end so many times, and I have. Caught me off guard too. Like I went and same thing with Beach Boys '85. I went and listened to it. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be as good. And I listened to it. I'm like, oh my god, that was incredible. Yeah.
Riley, I assumed that Hot Dog had a bit of a reputation in the Zeppelin fan base because whenever I've mentioned it to my dad will just start laughing. He's like, "Oh, that song."
Dude, it's so catchy. Like I don't know why people hate it. It's their ding dang. It's like
No,
it's
I don't hate it. I didn't think it was like a highlight or anything, but I thought it was fun. It was
yeah, it's
fun
a
growing
fun
up.
song.
Yeah. All right. So coming in third in my top three is Led Zeppelin 2. So this album, I feel like they're kind of building on the sound of their first album here. I do feel like there's a little bit more variety, and it's also a bit more consistent, which is why I put it above the debut. In terms of the highlights here, there's a lot of them. The opener, "Whole Lot of Love," is a really cool song. One of the group's most well-known tracks. Robert Plant, such passionate vocals here, like really soulful vocals, and a really great riff from Jimmy Page as well. I will say this, I'm sure Riley will be appalled by this, but that middle section doesn't do a whole ton for
A lot of
me.
love.
A whole lot of love. But it does sound pretty neat. I do like all the cool little guitar effects, but it's not that part I could probably do without. But do like the song. What Is and What Should Never Be is a highlight of the catalog for me. I really love like kind of the psychedelic sound of this song. You got like the real distorted guitar, distorted vocals and heavy guitars. I also really love that cool harmony section after the chorus where like the vocals come in. I think that that's really pretty. And yeah, I just think it's a really neat track. And this is one that I definitely knew before doing this, but I feel like I didn't fully appreciate it until re-listening to it for this. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is a banger. So love What Is and What Should Never Be. Thank You, really pretty love song by Robert Plant. Love the organ playing on this one, and I just feel like it has a lot of emotion and feeling to it. So really like Thank You. Heartbreaker, iconic Jimmy Page riff, really memorable song and one of the most recognizable songs in the band's catalog. Living Loving Maid. I know I read that the band kind of considers this one to be filler, but I really like it a lot. I think the riff is great and it has a really catchy melody. I'd say it's up there with quite a few of the other highlights in the album for me, so really love that one a lot. Ramble On is maybe my favorite song on the album. I really like how it kind of manages to be pretty while also rocking at the same time. You have that cool acoustic opening, and then Robert Plant comes in during the chorus just with that awesome vocal. Just a great vocal, so much passion in his singing, and to me, this is another one of those songs that is really elevated by the vocal performance from Robert Plant. So really love Ramble On. And then Bring It On Home. This is the album closer. I believe it's a cover. This one starts out a little bit slow for me, but once Jimmy Page's guitar comes in, it really rocks. Maybe it's a little bit similar to Whole Lot of Love, but I do really dig it a lot. So overall, I like most of the tracks on this album. I do agree with Riley. The Lemon song didn't do a whole lot for me, and Moby Dick doesn't do too much for me either. But beyond those two, I really like this album a lot. I think that a lot of the songs here have great replay value. I see myself coming back to a lot of these often. And I think that it's an essential album, honestly. I think if you're looking to get into the band, this is one of the first albums that I would recommend somebody to check out after listening to it. So number three for me is Led Zeppelin 2.
Moby Dick's a banger, dude.
Yeah, I think the drum showcases don't really do much for me, and that's kind of what this one is. It's like a John Bonham showcase, which is fine. I mean, I appreciate good drumming, but like it's not really something I would repeat, you know. So
Yeah, that's fair.
it's not Denny's drums, I'll tell you that.
Oh Lord.
Dude, anything's better than Danny's drums.
Okay. Number three for me is also Led Zeppelin 2.
Mm.
Whole Lot of Love, incredible song, great opener. Robert Plant sings the hell out of it. What is and what should never be may be my favorite song in the entire catalog. I absolutely freaking love this song. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's like the contrast between like the vocals and the more up-tempo parts,
Yeah.
that kind of effect that has on the vocals that it almost sounds kind of like otherworldly. It's just something. It's like a very haunting song. I don't know what it is. I just freaking adore this fucking song, man. Probably listening to it at 2 o'clock in the morning probably helped too. There's a long story there. Thank you. Love the organ work on there. I found this to be a very uplifting song. Heartbreaker's got a great guitar solo, a lot of great energy. I like Living, Love, and Made a lot. So I'm with you on that one, Jake. I really, really like that song. And you, Riley. Ramble On, love that one too. Ramble On! Just so much energy. Just so much fun. I'm sorry, I know I have a lot of fun tonight. Moby Dick, I'm with you, Riley. Very fun instrumental. I love the drums showcase and Bring It On Home. I kind of like how I like the harmonic on it. I like how it kind of builds up. It starts kind of calm, but then it just kind of explodes into this like great energetic song. Um, take out the Lemon song. This is a damn good album. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's a lot of, and I like that. What I like how this one versus Led Zeppelin one is I think there's a little bit more variety on here, which is why I like
Yep.
it because you kind of get to see more different kind of sides than before. It's not as experimental as like say like Zeppelin 4, Physical Graffiti, or even Zeppelin 3. But I kind of like that they're kind of moving more towards that. So Led Zeppelin 2 is my number three, and yeah, the Lemon song is crap.
What is and what should never be is probably like borderline top five in the catalog for me too.
Oh,
I
Good.
love that song.
love it, love it, love it.
That chorus is just so killer on that. Oh man.
Yeah,
Uh, all right, my number two is Zeppelin 4. Technically, that album has no title.
yep.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't know that before preparing for this episode, and I was like, oh shit.
People either call it Zoso for like the symbols that they had, or Untitled.
I
But
think it
like,
was called the fourth album, is what
right.
Atlantic Records called it in their catalog.
And when you like, yeah, when it's like dropped on Spotify, it's called Zeppelin 4. So it's Zeppelin 4. Um, I think in many ways, this is not in many ways, in every way, this is like you take everything from the past three and you kind of put it into one cohesive piece. And yeah, it's like as iconic as you can get. This is like this is the FM radio album. And because like I think I've heard every single one of these songs on radio, even Four Sticks, which I think is like pretty nuts. But as mentioned before, Chaz and AJ really liked their Zeppelin. But Black Dog, iconic. Love playing that riff. One of the very fun riff to play. Rock and Roll, iconic. Also another fun riff to play. Battle of Evermore. I think in many ways, like this might be like one of my least favorites on the album, but I still think it's like super freaking cool. I love John Paul Jones getting a chance to stretch his little mandolin legs. And it is just like a very haunting tune. This is when you start to really get that like mystic influence in their music. Although Zeppelin 2 and 1 definitely also have that. Stairway to Heaven, unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, I think this one deserves to be played as many times as it is on radio. I'll admit I get tired of it sometimes, but then like when I actively choose to listen to it like on my own, it's like, yeah, this is maybe the best rock song ever made. And I feel like this is one for Jake, like even though it's long, he probably still loves it.
Fucking love it.
Yeah. And that guitar solo, holy shit, that is also maybe the greatest guitar solo in rock
Yeah.
history.
Yep.
The live version, I always keep coming back to this, but the live version of the song remains the same too. Also so damn good because they add a little like 8 bar bridge in between like when the solo starts in the album versus like the live show. It's like regular guitar strumming. You're like, oh shit, this thing's gonna come on, just goes. So Jimmy Page, absolute guitar legend. Misty Mountain Hop is really cool. I love the use of organ in it. It definitely sounds like a hop, like a little evolution of like the dance songs that were like dropped in like the 60s, and then it's just you drop it with Zeppelin. It's just that. I also love Lord of the Rings, so I love the little like connections. Four Sticks, it's all right. I think that's the one that kind of ultimately kills it for me because I the next one I don't think there's anything that I'd skip. I'd go back to any of those songs. And Going to California is my third favorite song in the Zeppelin catalog. maybe my second. That shit's just majestic. Holy crap. And When the Levee Breaks, that's just a beast of a song.
All right, so coming in at number two for me. So I know, with Riley ranked In Through the Outdoor pretty high, while I ranked it pretty low. Well, this is the one that I ranked pretty high, but Riley ranked pretty low. Led Zeppelin 3 is my number two. This album for me, I just really love the variety of it. I actually really like the band kind of like going for a more laid back sound here, a lot more kind of acoustic songs. You have some cool instrumentation on here. You have use of mandolin and some synthesizers from John Paul Jones. So I just really like the variety here. And I think hearing it after the first two was like really refreshing in a way, just because it sounds so distinctive from the first two albums. And then the other thing that really makes me rank this so highly is just that some of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs in the whole catalog are on here. The highlights are just so high. It opens up with Immigrant Song, which is just a kick-ass opener. I think one of the best album openers of all time. And one of my favorite songs in the whole catalog. Awesome riff. Some of Robert Plant's greatest vocals. Like you said, Matt, that opening vocal where he's just screaming. I mean, such a cool vocal. And really interesting lyrics as well. So always have really loved that song. Riley, I know you said you didn't care for Friends. I freaking love Friends. I had never heard it before doing this ranking, but I absolutely love it. I think the guitar riff is really cool. It kind of has like that Middle Eastern sound to it, especially with like the string arrangement too. And yeah, honestly, this might shock you, but if I had to pick which Friends I prefer, this one or the Beach Boys Friends, I think I'm gonna pick this one. I absolutely love this song. So really cool track and really kind of distinctive sound. Sounds unlike most of their other material, which I really like. Since I've Been Loving You, bluesy banger. Absolutely love the haunting sound of this one. Really cool organ playing from John Paul Jones and just really emotive vocals from Robert Plant as well. I do want to give a shout out. I did know this song a while ago, like years before I really even like started getting more into Zeppelin, because the rock band Great White from the 80s did a cover of this, a live cover. And it is a phenomenal, phenomenal live cover. If any of our listeners haven't heard it before, look up Great White, Since I've Been Loving You. I think they did it in like 88 or 89, but some of the best live vocals you'll ever hear from their lead singer, Jack Russell. He sounds pretty much just like Robert Plant. It's pretty incredible. So love that song. Gallows Pole. I actually really like this one quite a bit. It did take a couple listens to grow on me, but I do like it. I like the banjo on it and the acoustic guitar, and I think it really kind of shows the band's versatility. So I dig that one. Tangerine, I'm right there with you guys. I think this is an amazing ballad, one of the best songs in the catalog. This is another deep cut that I did know before doing this, but re-listening to it, I've kind of like fallen in love with it again. I think it's interesting too that I read that Jimmy Page wrote this song a while back, like when he was still in the Yardbirds, which is pretty cool. Like kind of knowing that they
There's
sat on this.
recordings of it, yeah.
Again, I think I really love the pedal steel guitar on this too. I think it adds a lot to the track. So love this one. Also, I have to shout out the B-side of Immigrant Song, which did not make the album. Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? Another one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. Really catchy riff, great vocals from Robert Plant. And that song would probably rank in my top 10 Zeppelin songs. So really love that one too. In terms of the other material on here, most of the tracks I do enjoy. I think Matt, you mentioned, what is it, Brawny Yar Stomp. I thought that was a pretty fun song, catchy little acoustic track. That's the Way is a solid ballad. I think probably could use a few more listens from me before it really grows on me more, but I thought it was solid. Celebration Day, same thing there. I think it's a solid rocker, but I probably need to listen to it again. I know, Riley, you said that the live version of that is really good, right? Of Celebration Day. So I'll definitely check that out.
Way better.
And then the closer, hats off to Roy Harper. That one, I really kind of like the experimentation on it, like the cool effect they have on Robert Plant's voice. Can't say the song itself is a huge favorite of mine, but I do really like the experimentation there. So, yeah, overall, though, this album, I just really like the variety of it. It doesn't really sound like most of their other earlier albums, and I just really like kind of the more stripped back acoustic sound of a lot of these tracks. So, really cool album with some of the band's best songs, in my opinion. So, number two for me is Led Zeppelin 3.
So this is for real this time. Number two for me is Led Zeppelin 4, aka the album that has no name. I think, and now you guys see why I was shocked that you ranked Physical Graffiti so low, right? And now, okay. So for me, I think that this, as you said, Riley, this is a distillation of everything they were doing. And as far as like a single LP goes, it's hard to beat this. Um, Black Dog, amazing guitar solo, amazing intro. I'd said the part that I liked the best was where like Robert Plant kind of sings a little bit of reverb and then the guitars go back and like kind of like alternates between it's like just his vocals and the guitars come back and I think that's a really cool effect. Rock and Roll, I said had a really nice drum intro from Bonzo. It's got great energy and vocal from Plant, more amazing guitar work from Page. The Battle of Evermore, I kind of like the Celtic vibe that this is going for. It has like the mandolin, which is really cool. I like the Lord of the Rings thing. Kind of feels like very atmospheric. Like I could kind of hear this in like kind of like a video game, which brings me to Stairway to Heaven. Where do I start with that? I mean, it's one of the greatest songs ever written. The different parts, Plant sings the hell out of it. The lyrics are great. The opening with the recorders almost makes me feel like I'm playing The Legend of Zelda. I don't know why, it just kind of gives me Legend of Zelda vibes. And then just like that guitar solo at the end. And while so winding down the road. Oh my God. Just I'm sorry, I'm singing a lot tonight, but
Yeah, Matt with the vocal chops tonight.
amazing freaking song. Doesn't matter how many times you play it, it is never going to get overplayed for me. Misty Mountain Hop, I said I love the electric piano, and I kind of like how he sings like I didn't notice, but it had got like that. I like his cadence on the vocals there. Four Sticks, I said it had some cool guitar work, and I love the synthesizer on it. Going to California, I thought was a beautiful song, a great acoustic song, very tender vocals from Plant, and again, some nice manly work. And When the Levee Breaks, killer fucking blues number, probably one of their best blues numbers. So, amazing album. The only reason it's not number two is because for me, the bloated physical graffiti works. I just it's like everything. It's like I like that it kind of is like it runs the gauntlet.
All right. Are you guys keeping track with which one's my number one?
Houses of the Holy, right?
Well,
Yeah,
this is the-
I figured.
I think you guys already knew that though too.
Honestly, no, I thought physical graffiti was gonna be number one for you.
Really? Well, do you guys remember the top 10 albums episode we did?
Oh, you're right.
Houses of the Holy was one of my like honorable mentions.
Mm.
I didn't remember that.
It's one of those ones that like also kind of can fluctuate into the top 10 though. And on a re-listen, I just remember why. I feel like this is like peak experimentation with Zeppelin because I think each song is kind of like a different style. But they're also adding in like some pop elements to it. I think in many ways this is their like poppiest album, even though FM radio is kind of or not FM radio, even though 4 was kind of their FM radio one. Song remains the same though. Love the layers of guitar. Absolutely incredible. I think it's a hell of an opener, and like oh, it kind of gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. But the Rain song is like one of my 10 favorite songs of all time of any artist. It's like it's just beautiful. Like I feel like it's one of those songs you can't even like think of how they composed it. Like with Brian Wilson, like the Beach Boys stuff, yeah, I can like see him at his piano, like working on a song. And even though he's probably doing some crazy music nerd shit, um, with the Rain song, I just don't know how they wrote it because it's written in like a very unique tuning on guitar, which like you'd have to just be Jimmy Page doing something to like figure that out. Because I mean, like that's like never used on any other song ever. It's just not used on the Rain song, or at least as far as I know. And it's just crazy how he wrote that. So it's so beautiful. And the Mellotron, oh my God. So it may be one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard is the Rain song. And then you have another one of my favorites from Zeppelin, Over the Hills from Far Away. I feel like that's like a mini Stairway to Heaven. And I love the guitar riff on that one. It borrows a lot from an old Jimmy Page acoustic number called White Summer, which is one he did with the Yardbirds. But I love Over the Hills and Far Away. It's like a mini Stairway and one of my favorites from the catalog. The Crunge is a bop. Say what you will about it. I like it. Dancing Days, another like very creative guitar song. And I love the vocals from Plant on that one.
Hmm.
Jamaica gets shit on by Zeppelin fans and you guys alike. Well, not Matt likes it by
I like
Jake alike. Yeah, I love it. That's one I heard on the radio a lot. Maybe their poppiest song, period. And I can see why you think that like, Plant's vocals are annoying. I love them. I just think it's just really catchy. It gets stuck in your head. It's such a great song, and I love the little guitar line.
Oh, it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, but not in a good way, huh?
Yeah.
No Quarter. That song live used to stretch like half an hour. But damn, that one's just haunting. That's just like the only word I could use to describe it is just cool. It's just, oh my God, it's freaking sick.
Spacey, like Matt said, spacey.
Spacey, yeah. And The Ocean, I think, is one of their it's a great rocker. And I don't think there's a single miss on this album. I've listened to this thing beginning to end so many times. My brother bought me an original pressing for Christmas one year. This is the album from Zeppelin I just go back to every single time. This and oddly enough, Into the Outdoor. I just can't deny Zeppelin 4's peaks, but honestly, this is the one I always come back to. Not even for the Rain song too. I think that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, for me, my number one, no surprises here. Led Zeppelin 4 or the Untitled album.
Also,
For me, this album, to me, it's their most consistent record, and I also think that it has a lot of their greatest songs in their entire catalog. Like I mentioned earlier, this is one that I actually kind of grew up listening to a bit because I had it on CD, and I remember, listening to it every once in a while. And I just absolutely love this album. I think it's just full of banger after banger. It opens up with Black Dog, which is a kick-ass rocker. Another one of Jimmy Page's most recognizable riffs. Robert Plant's vocals on this one are awesome as well. Rock and roll, like Riley mentioned, kick-ass rocker. I remember this was one that I really liked a lot growing up. The whole band really is on fire on this one. Robert Plant's vocals, Jimmy's guitar playing, and the drumming from John Bonham. Just a really awesome song. Stairway to Heaven, yeah, it's one of the greatest songs ever written. Just incredible arrangement. The lyrics are really cool. And Jimmy's guitar solo, like Riley said, I think it's one of the greatest solos of all time. And honestly, Robert Plant's vocals as well. I think he absolutely just crushes this song. So I think the song deserves every bit of attention and airplay that it's gotten over the years. I know people joke like, oh, it's overplayed, but I think for good reason. I'm with you, Riley. I think this kicks Bohemian Rhapsody's ass. So love this one. Misty Mountain Hop. I absolutely love this song. This is another banger. Probably would rank this top 10 in the catalog for me. Like Matt said, I really love kind of the like off kilter vocals, like the dun 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 dun. I really like that a lot. And great electric piano playing from John Paul Jones in this one as well. So always have loved that song. Going to California, just a beautiful, beautiful song. One of my favorite acoustic tracks from the band. That cool bridge, that real intense bridge that Robert Plant sings. Absolutely love that too. I love how his vocal gets really intense during that. Just a really haunting and moving performance. And I've always loved this song a lot. And then the closer, When the Levee Breaks, is a really cool track. I really like Jimmy's guitar tone on this one and also the heavy drum sound from John Bonham. Another song I'd kind of describe similar to No Quarter. Like it kind of has like a hypnotic sound to it, which I really like. The only tracks in here that didn't do too much for me, Four Sticks, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it's fine. I kind of like it. I know the story behind it is that John Bonham plays the song with four drumsticks, which is pretty neat, but as a song, didn't do too much for me. And then the Battle of Evermore, I like the instrumentation on it, but not a favorite, honestly. I thought it was okay, but not up to par with the other songs for me. But overall, I think it's a really, really strong album. To me, it's like the album I would recommend to somebody who's trying to get into Zeppelin. This would probably be the first one that I'd suggest, just because I think it's a really accessible album and it has a lot of their greatest songs on it. So really love this one a lot. And, I think the band did a fantastic job with this one. I think it's just perfect album almost. So love it.
So number one for me is Physical Graffiti. Yes, it's bloated. However, for me, that works. I think that this is them running the gauntlet. This is very experimental. This has like some of their best material. And for me, it works. Like we compare it to the White Album. To me, this is better because there is no Wild Honey Pie. There is no why don't we do it in the road? Like what the hell is that they were throwing on there? Like, I have died on the hill that the White Album should have been a single album. This, I'm fine leaving this a double, but I know you guys disagree. That's okay. That's the beauty of opinions, right? Starting off with Custard Pie and the Rover, great pair of hard rock tunes. You got that 1-2 punch. You just getting you off with a bang. In My Time of Dying, I think is a great blues number. I like all 11 minutes. Don't cut a second of it. House of the Holy, I think, has a great melody. I think it's very catchy. I'm glad that they held it off for this. Trample Underfoot is an amazing song. Kashmir is just an epic song. I like In the Light. I kind of like what they're going for on it. It's kind of got like that like art rocky thing with like some of the synth stuff. Then you got how do you say this? Brawnier, however you say it. Very pleasant instrumental. Down by the Seaside, I think, is a very beautiful song. It's very like haunting. 10 Years Ago, I think is a great song too. And then you just got side four. And sorry, I take notes on this, but like for me, this is like I just think that this is a really incredible album from start to finish. I don't care that it's bloated. I think it works for me. It's like just the most Zeppelin. It's got them like, doing all kinds of stuff. I love it.
Matt Boogies with Stu, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I love it, honestly. Like, and I think it's better than the White Album. That's my hot take.
All right. Do we want to get into our Led Zeppelin song draft now, Riley?
yeah, sure, let's do it.
All
15
right.
songs.
15 songs, and for a song to make it on, two out of the three of us have to vote yes on it.
Matt, why don't you start with the
Okay.
list
So
pick?
the person I'm going to nominate is probably my favorite Zeppelin song, "What Is and What Should Never Be." I just love like I said, I love the contrast in the slower parts and the more tempo parts. I love the effects on the vocals. I just think it's a really beautiful, haunting song, and it's the one I kept coming back to.
I know Jake's voting for you already. I don't even see his hand.
Yes,
Um,
for me, one of my favorite songs in the catalog. I love it. So cool. Such a cool song. I love the vocals on it too. That like cool harmony part.
What would you vote, Riley?
if we have to choose 15, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'd vote yeah. I think that it definitely represents it's a very good representation of a second album. So yeah, I would vote yes anyways. All right, Jake, you can go next.
All right. Let's see. All right. So I will try to I'll get something from the debut. I'm gonna go with Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. Really intense rocking song, kind of a ballad, but also rocks at the same time with that really heavy chorus. Just a really cool song, really haunting sound to it, very atmospheric, and great vocals from Robert Plant, some of his very best. So love this one, and I think it's a great way to represent the debut. So, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You.
I'm gonna say no. There's about four songs I'd rather have ahead of it from the debut.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to say no, Jake. Sorry. I would rather have something else from the debut too, especially because we only have 15.
I know that I'm not gonna get how many more times. I could just already tell by that. If it was like 24, maybe I could squeeze it in, but I'm gonna throw out my one of my favorite songs of all time, the Rain Song, their best ballad. Not even close.
Yeah, I'll give you a yes. I'll give you a yes. I like the mellotron on it. It's very ethereal sounding. I got some progginess in there.
Yeah, I would give it a yes as well. It wasn't on my main list, but I do think it's a really pretty ballad, and I think it's definitely a beloved song, and it's really pretty. So yeah,
There's also the story that George Harrison said that Zeppelin couldn't write a ballad, and then they wrote
I,
this.
I read that too, and I read somewhere that the song opens with the chords from something or something like that, which is interesting.
I'm gonna go with it was a hit, but I think it needs to be on here. Immigrant Song. I think that it's just got a lot of energy. It's got a great opener from Zeppelin 3. It's a great opener in general. And I just there's a reason it was a hit. And I kind of like it's kind of got some like mythology things going on it. And yeah, just a very fun song.
I can give that a yes. There's a version out there from How the West Is Won though that has a guitar solo in it that was not on the album, which is a it's not a studio recording, it's actually a live recording though. But yeah, brings the energy.
Yeah, yep. For me, one of their best rockers, great album opener. Yeah, just a gas song.
All right, Jake.
All right, man, it's 15. 15 is tough, man. So many good songs. All right, I'm gonna go with my favorite song from Physical Graffiti, "Trampled Underfoot." Just absolute banger. Really like kind of the funky groove of it with the clavinet, and just really awesome song. So really love this one. This is one that I've always really liked, even before doing this ranking, and just kick ass song. Love it.
Yeah, got a yes from me. I like the funkiness of it too. And I think it's a good representation of physical graffiti.
Yeah, I'll give it a yes. I think it's just like I said earlier, creative song. That Jimmy Page managed to like match his guitar with the like clavinet part, which I think is really impressive, especially with the picking and stuff. But it's also just like really catchy. Talking about love. Yeah. Let's go to the debut. I can't do how many more times, so I'm gonna do Dazed and Confused. Just a lot shows the early like raw experimentation of Zeppelin. Just incredible song. Heavy. A lot
Yes.
of people. Yeah, yeah.
I'd give it a yes. Yeah, just the awesome, cool guitar tone on it, such like psychedelic sounding song, and really cool vocal from Robert Plant as well. So
I'm gonna go to Led Zeppelin 4, Misty Mountain Hop. I like the electric piano. I like the do 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 do, just like with the case of the vocals. I just think it's a really banger of a track.
yes, from me, I absolutely love that song, and like you said, yeah, the vocals, chorus. I really don't know what time it was. Yeah, great song. I love it.
Yeah, that's our first one from Zeppelin 4. And like this is your top 15 Zeppelin song, really?
It's
Well,
on my list of. I made a list of like top 20, and it's on my top 20. So.
don't you want to pick stuff that people wouldn't expect?
Yeah, but like a really good song. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a banger, but it's like I think that's like one of the worst songs in Zeppelin
Okay,
4.
well,
Like,
we can swap it out later if you want.
no, yeah, yeah, no, it's obviously a song. I'm just like, wow. I'm just more shocked than anything.
I liked it.
I like it too. I'm just like, damn. Misty Mountain Hop. All right. I'm gonna go later. I'm gonna go with In Through the Outdoor. I'm gonna go with Fool in the Rain. I know Jake's gonna vote no, but if I don't throw out one of my favorites, I would probably regret it. I just think this is just a great song. Really catchy.
I'll give you a yes. I like it. I kind of like the samba thing. Hey, samba, Brazil, gotta represent, you know. Let's go to Physical Graffiti, Down by the Seaside. I quite like that song. Kind of got like a nice like little beachy vibe. Kind of got like a very like it's a very pretty haunting song. So yeah.
Yep, absolutely. One of my favorite software. I really love the tremolo guitar on it. I love that little like middle section where they like start rocking out.
Yeah.
It's like Plant gives such a mellow vocal. It kind of feels like you're like on the seaside. So yep.
Yeah, I love that song. And like Riley said, the tremolo guitar effect is super cool. And I like the band kind of going for a more folkier sounding song. I like it.
Yeah. It's different. It's not something you'd expect from them.
Hmm.
No.
All right, back to me, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go for some representation from Riley's favorite album. I'm going to go with No Quarter. Awesome bluesy rocker, like Matt said, very like spacey sound to it, just like very ethereal. Love that really heavy guitar tone from Jimmy Page, and really the keyboard or synth work from John Paul Jones just really carries this track too. Just really haunting song, and I absolutely love every minute of it. So,
You gotta vote for me, man. That one's a freaking banger.
That's
hell yeah.
That's only one it is.
All right. You know what? I'll throw it out there. We have Dazed and Confused, and Rain Song, so we could probably throw this one. Achilles' Last Stand. Um, if I want something from Presence, this is absolutely it. And it's just, but it's also like one of their greatest songs. So layers of guitars, honestly, almost shoegazy and like in concept, and it's just like it's fucking sick, dude. It's just, it's just so good. It's like I love the pacing of it. It's a great song. Achilles' Last Stand.
Yeah. I like it. I'll give it a yes.
Word. Jake, what
I
would
would voted yes on it, but that's fine.
you wouldn't? Why not?
I like it, but it wouldn't be in my top 20 Zeppelin songs, top 15. So.
Really?
No, not even. I don't think it's particularly close, honestly, but I like it though. It's the highlight of the album for me. But
All right.
I'll just throw it out there because it was a big hit. It's a whole lot of love. I mean, you know, it's an iconic song, great melody, got lots of energy. Great opener for Led Zeppelin too. It's one of their most iconic songs for a reason.
Jake, you
right,
go.
I like it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna vote no. So it's up to you, Riley.
Yeah, I'll vote no. I don't know. We have 5 spots left, and there's definitely room for some iconic ones, but there's also room for just one or more deep cuts. And I think that out of the iconic tracks, I think we definitely need more representation from 4.
Well, I
And
was this close to nominating the other. I probably gonna be on here.
if you nominated that one, I would have said yes. Just like it's one of those ones you can't have. Or you
Well,
can't not.
hey, we did Oasis without Wonderwall, which is like can't really have an
It's
Oasis.
fucking Wonderwall, dude. Like this is Stairway to Heaven. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
I think it's as
those
good.
songs are on two different levels for me.
I
So
love Wonderwall. Like, don't get me wrong, great pop song, but greatest song ever written.
Just saying.
Like it's like God only knows, Stairway to Heaven, and fuck all with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just between those two. But it's so good. It has different sections. I'm like, so does every other song in existence. It's like it's not that special.
I would say Heroes is up there for me as one of the all-time.
Yeah, we could. That's a list I think we could do one day.
all right, I'm gonna go with all right, Riley. I agree with Riley that we do need some more Led Zeppelin 4 representation. So I'm gonna go with Going to California, which I think is just one of their very best ballads. Really haunting ballad. Love Robert Plant's vocals on it, and I really like the lyrics as well. So really like this one a lot. Highlight of the album and the catalog for me.
You answered my prayer, Jake. That was my Hail Mary that I was going to throw at the end if we didn't get it on. Going to California. I'm surprised it's not as popular today.
No, it isn't.
I feel like that would be one that's like everybody goes. I feel like that's like a perfect TikTok song. It's like
No, we don't need it to get on TikTok.
You
no, I
like
don't want
on
it to be, but I'm
TikTok?
saying it could be.
Keep it away from TikTok.
I like it a lot too, so I'm gonna give it a yes. But I didn't want this to be too ballad heavy, but I don't think we're too bad.
It's Zeppelin. Even their ballads have some sort of heaviness to them. Ugh.
Four to
No.
go.
Yeah, one part of me wants to go back there into the outdoor, but I don't think I'd get anything on.
Probably wouldn't.
Thanks.
I'm just saying, probably. I don't. Jake didn't like that album very much.
If I threw out Jamaica, I think the fans would hate me.
I'll hate you.
Yeah, and I think I'd actually get the vote from Matt on that one too.
I would probably say no in this scenario, just because we have so few spots.
I could throw out the song remains the same, but I think that's almost too much of a deep cut. Let me go to Zeppelin 3, Since I've Been Loving You.
Yes. Love that song. Great vocals, great lyrics, just really haunting bluesy song. So
Yeah, I'll give it a yes too. I quite like it as well.
I think I think that like everything that could go right with that song went right. And I'm glad and it's one that was actually written by the band too. It would seem like it's one of those like
covers.
right, but it's not. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
All right, let's just throw out the really iconic one, "Stairway to Heaven."
yep. I think
Yep.
we, I don't think there is anything else we could say about that one.
Okay, two spots left.
Okay, so at least we got Stairway to
Pull
Heaven.
out pull out one from three.
Okay, I will. You know what? I will, Riley. We're gonna go with
I like
Tangerine.
Zeppelin 3. Like why are you shitting on me?
Oh no, because you ranked it like sixth.
And I said there's a giant jump between Presidents and this one.
I wasn't shitting on you. I was just saying I will. Tangerine.
Yep,
That,
dude,
Uh,
that's two Hail Marys thrown
that
tonight.
was
And
I was this close to saying that one before, so yes.
Awesome. Just
I've thrown
awesome.
you two Hail Marys tonight, Jake, and you fell for the bait each time. I'm so happy. Tangerine's
I like
is my
Tangerine.
I
It's
think it's my favorite from Zeppelin 3. I'd have to like check. I have like a Google Doc, of course I do, of like everything. And it's like first favorite and second favorite song from each album. And you know what? I'm looking right now.
so
It's
nerdy.
my second favorite, or at least when I labeled it since I've been loving you is my first. But Tangerine, oh my God, gorgeous song.
Yeah.
It is a very pretty song. I like it a lot.
And I like how it does have a little upbeat part to it.
Mm-hmm.
Tangerine.
Yeah, they're not like the very like heavy ballads, like that are like drowned in a million strings and all that.
Ooh, all right.
Riley, are you the last pick here?
I think I am. I think I have the potential to have the last one too.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll throw a Hail Mary at you. There's a song from Led Zeppelin 2 I think we could potentially nominate, and there's a cool B-side I think we could nominate too. Those are the two
You
I
know
would say.
what? I'm gonna catch one of those because I actually forgot about. Hey, what can I do? Um, I feel like it matches. I'm surprised it wasn't on three because I feel like that
Me
would have
too. Yeah.
easily put it higher on my list. And it has the like chill, like acoustic, like vibe to it, while it's also still like an upbeat, faster tempo song.
Yeah.
That chorus is like one of their catchiest in their entire catalogs. Hey, what can I do? Well, I got a woman to make her mine. Um, yeah. Hey, what can I do?
Yeah. Love it. Love that one. Great song.
Yeah, I'll give it a yes too. It's hey, what can I do?
Yep. And that was just a B-side
It was
to
the B-side to Immigrant Song, if I remember
yeah.
correctly. Okay, so for our 15 track best of Zeppelin playlist, we have Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin 3, The Rain Song from Houses of the Holy, Misty Mountain Hop from Led Zeppelin 4, Trampled Underfoot from Physical Graffiti, Full in the Rain from In Through the Outdoor, Dazed and Confused from Led Zeppelin 1, No Quarter from Houses of the Holy, Down by the Seaside from Physical Graffiti, Tangerine from Led Zeppelin 3, Hey, What Can I Do, which was the B-side to Immigrant Song, Going to California from Led Zeppelin 4, What Is and What Should Never Be from Led Zeppelin 2, Achilles' Last Stand from Presence, Since I've Been Loving You from Led Zeppelin 3, and Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin 4.
That's a hell of a list.
That's a
Hell,
good.
yep. Hell of a list. A lot of songs to choose from. I mean, we could have done 20, 25 songs, but I think if you're going to pick 15, this is a really damn good list with a lot of variety. So we've got
Yeah. I think we probably could have got no. You good. I think we could have gotten a little bit more from two though. That's kind of
I agree. I wanted to get Ramble on there, but
I knew it, but I mean Ramble On's great, but I actually prefer Hey, what can I do? So I went
yeah,
with that one. We
yeah.
tossed up Hail Mary. Um, although I don't think this would fit on one disc if it was a record. I think you'd have to get like
No, this would definitely be a double, but
but
I don't think we care
it
about
might be like a triple because like looking
it.
at it, You got Dazed and Confused, Rain Song,
Since I've Been Loving You and Achilles, those are both really
and
long.
Stairway is like 7 minutes. Like that's
Yeah.
like, at least like 4 minutes right there.
Any final thoughts? I know Riley missed
Any songs you would have rather have had on, Jake?
any songs I would have rather had on
Yeah.
from my main list. I mean, I already mentioned "Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You," but besides that, "Dancing Days" I would have loved to have on. "The Rover" I would have loved to have on, and if you were gonna pick another one from "In Through the Outdoor," I probably would have voted yes on "All My Love." But yeah, those were the main ones. And then to give like a curveball, if I had to pick like kind of like a more out there pick, I freaking love Friends.
I would say for me, Dazed and Confused would have been cool. Or we got that one. Whole lot of
You
love.
got that one.
Whole lot of love would have been cool. Ramble On would have been cool. I know we mentioned that one.
Yep, definitely Ramble On.
I would have loved Houses of the Holy from Physical Graffiti, which I know is weird. It's not on Houses of the Holy, right? But
Yeah. I had that stuck in my head earlier today.
that's
Houses.
very catchy. And then I know it's very out there, but Carol Soramba would have been kind
Paris
of
Lambra, I would have voted for it. You should have put it on.
yeah, but I think we got a pretty good set list. But there's some other ones I would have loved to have seen. Probably if I had to pick one, I would have loved to got in there. Probably Houses of the Holy from Physical Graffiti.
Hmm. For me, I feel like I could take off
Misty Mountain Hop.
not any of yeah, actually, yeah, Steve on House probably the best one, and probably would have thrown on How Many More Times. That would have been a hell of an opener. Um, Led Zeppelin 2, Thank You, or Heartbreaker, or Whole Lot of Love, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we kind of hit all the check marks on the three for me, except for That's the Way, which I also enjoy. Four, I'm pretty happy with our selections. Houses of the Holy, song remains the same. Over the Hills, I think was a huge missed opportunity for our list, but like I said, it's a compacted stairway, so like you kind of got both. I probably would have also thrown out Jamaica. I feel like that's pretty much it. 10 Years Gone, actually, that's a great one from Physical Graffiti. I'm kind of surprised we haven't mentioned that much tonight. And then past that, probably In the Evening or I'm Gonna Crawl or Hot Dog from In Through the Outdoor.
You really wanted that hot dog song on there, huh?
No, I don't. I was just joking. But definitely I'm Gonna Crawl or In the Evening. Easily could have thrown on the list. I would have voted for Curse Alhambra too.
All right. So thank you everybody for listening to this episode of Off Timin. I hope you enjoyed the show. Had really good time discussing Led Zeppelin with you guys and doing this ranking. It was really interesting hearing your guys' opinions on the different albums and songs, and it was really fun doing the song draft as well. So, as always, if you like this episode of the podcast, be sure to check us out on YouTube at Off Timin. Also on Good Timin, where we do our Beach Boys discussions. Our third season of the Good Timin podcast is starting back up next month. So be sure to subscribe there and get ready for some more Beach Boys content because we're going to be doing a lot of great discussions throughout the year. So thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.